Hi friends, my name is Boris and welcome to CosmicTrading. Today we're going to talk about the most powerful tool I have created. It will help anybody map out the market completely and give a great overview of what's going on. Before we start, here is a timestamp on how to use it. But first, I want to go over why. I always like giving a complete picture, Now, some people think technical analysis is BS, to which I will say, absolutely, yes, it is. If and only if you're using it as a predictive tool. If you're trying to predict the future with it, yeah, nobody has a crystal ball. On the other hand, if you're using it as a measuring tool, then technical analysis is very powerful. And the golden angle principle does exactly that. By the way, that's a very long name, so I'm just gonna call it GAP from here on out. GAP is a tool I created to measure the market based on three factors: time, space, and energy. I think it's very important to understand these three and their connection with each other. Using this chart, we can identify SPY as the space in which we are trading in. And the space can either contract or expand based on how money flows in and out. Which brings me to my next point. Money represents energy, whether we're talking about the market cap of the space in which we are trading on or your own capital. All money is energy. Now, last but not least, time is simply the graph moving from left to right. Now, I came about this idea of measuring the market with GAP because the market has certain core principles it abides by. There are many factors, but I'm just gonna name three. Number one, inflation. The market have an expected inflation of about 2% per year. So the market has no choice but to go up over time, matching that inflation. Number two, something like the S&P 500 is expected to grow about 10.5% on average per year. And number three, over time, people little by little are saving up money for retirement, and usually that money ends up in the market. Now, there are many factors at play, but for now, they should give us a better understanding to why the market has a maximum and a minimum it has to maintain as it goes up over time. So, the same way a weatherman uses their tool to give a range of direction of a hurricane and how powerful it is, we can do the same using GAP. And here is how we use the golden angle principle. First, you need to be able to use the Fibonacci retracement tool, and in Webull Desktop you can find it right here. And now all you have to do is pick from the highest to the lowest point of a market where it had a stressful event that tested those boundaries. For this example, I would choose something extreme and easy to identify, which is obviously the crash of 2020. After this, all you need is to use the parallel line tool, which you can find right here, and use these 3 points to draw it. The 78.6 point, I call it a category 1 trend. This is the minimum requirement that is needed to support any trend. Anything less than that is noise. And as you can see, it goes from 1 all the way to 5, and the lower you go, the faster the market is. Based on current measurement, we can clearly see the market is at a category 2 trend. This works both for macro, micro, and even in reverse, aka downtrend. By the way, if you're measuring over a short distance, it's important to use the Hakinashi tool, which you can find right here. The reason is each trend, category 1 to 5, has a sub-range of high and low, which you can clearly see in this downtrend example right here. Again, this is only useful for short distance. Long distance, you can barely tell the difference, but it still exists though. Because the space and energy of a market changes over time, the measurement also needs to be adjusted accordingly. Here is an example of measuring a downtrend from micro to macro and adjusting it over time. Anyways, thanks to the golden angle principle, I have unlocked many other tools that I would talk to you guys about if you guys request them, as I release more cosmic weather videos. Again, I want to remind everyone I am not using GAP as a tool to predict the market, but just as a way to find out if I'm getting good deal or bad deal based on how quickly the market is moving. I always say those that can master time, space, and energy can do anything. And I dare say talking about this tool will fundamentally change the market one day. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.